Hi, it has been a really long time and I have not made a video. I hope I'm in focus. Hard to tell. So I'm doing my makeup right now for the first time like this in a really long time, and I just kind of wanted to sit down here and like take my time doing my makeup. So I have a few videos I wanted to do for you guys, but I wanted to start with kind of just a general update. So we're starting right here while I'm trying to get ready. First of all, I've gained a good bit of weight. But that's besides the point. There's a lot that has been happening in the last few months. That's Suki. I don't know. It's hard for me to speak on because I feel like it's just so mind-blowing where we are right now. And honestly, if I think about any one particular thing that's going on right now for too long, it genuinely makes me feel like I don't know that I can have kids in this, and raise them, and this is what's going on in the world. So all I'm going to say about all of it, about everything that's going on right now, is that it's very hard to see and watch and hear. Me and my husband are very much for people. We're people that love people, and it doesn't feel real. So my only tip of encouragement here for you guys is try to put yourself in other people's shoes, and also just take time to make sure that the information that you have is correct on anything that you're looking at. Because something that, again, for the past few months, everything that's been going on has really been eye-opening for me on is the fact that we are just like spoon-fed info, and really I feel like maybe my generation is worse at this for the majority, but we kind of just don't research stuff to make sure that that's correct, a lot of us, and half of that is not even like, I'm not saying like, oh, we're just ignorant idiots that just believe everything. I think what's been sad to me is you expect people in authority, or like when you click on the news or whatever, it to be accurate information and not opinion-based information, and it so is. So it's very confusing, it's very overwhelming. I don't really want to bring a lot of like heavy, sad, negative stuff, but I need to at least say we are heartbroken, me and my husband, about all of it, and it's just hard to talk on because it's just like what we're living doesn't seem real right now. But howdy do. I hope that you guys are doing okay. I would love to hear your experience with any and everything in the last few months. Like I said, I don't really want to be like negative, but I do want to be able to be uplifting to one another. And if you need some encouragement, let me know that you need some encouragement, because I think that's something that I know I'm not making a lot of sense. It's because I don't want to I don't know. I'm just nervous to talk about it because it's just a lot. I think over the past few months, it's just been apparent people that are for people and people that are for themselves. And I'm for people. So if you have something to say it below. Let's all be nice and encouraging and uplifting, and this is a people for people community. It does not matter what color you are, where you are from, what your financial situation is. If you are not someone who loves people because you love people, this is probably not the community for you. Moving on. I'm going to do my makeup and watch some videos, and then I'm going to have a little update with Dustin as well, because we've had a lot happen the past few months. I was going to try to film outside because it's so nice out here, but it's so humid that it looks like I'm in a steam room. Oh, it's evening out a little bit, I think. Let's just see.
Forgot my drink.
Go get your drink.
I don't know where it is.
The update with Dustin. We look literally like ghosts, especially me. I'm the same color as the wall.
Wait, here, hold on.
Look, I'm literally the same color.
Wait a minute.
A little blue.
Oh.
No, it's fine.
You sure?
I guess. I just feel like I have to do this to see. It's fine.
It's just because you're on that side here, that's
I know.
why.
All right. Oh, this is on my phone.
Oh yeah,
Did you give that to me?
I guess so.
We'll get there.
Are we still in focus?
Yep. So, I haven't really updated anything other than saying that the world that we live in is really sad right now.
Yeah.
Now, a few stories for you guys over the past few months because I looked back and I don't think I filmed anything since April.
Okay.
So it's been a long time. I was out of work from like the end of March or the beginning of April until the beginning of June, right? I get fuzzy on it.
The end of May. You went back the end of May because you were working around my birthday.
Right. Okay. So I was out of work for almost 2 months.
Yep.
Dustin, you stopped going to work a little bit before me.
Yeah. Like second week of March, third week of March.
Yeah. And Dustin still has not been back. Today is July the 17th. So he's expected back hopefully the beginning of August. That's work. A few things that have happened over the past few months that have been funny. We have been to the hospital several times. A couple weeks ago, we were cleaning the house. My dad was going to come up and visit. And I was cleaning in the guest room. Dustin asked me how he could help because he's always so helpful. And I said, "Do you roll your eyes?" I had done some dishes and there was still a few left. And Dustin came in the kitchen. He just woke up and said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "If you want to finish the dishes that are left, I'm going to go like pick up the guest room and whatever else needs to be picked up." So I'm cleaning in the guest room. I have a video playing and I thought I heard Dustin say something, just like exclaim something. And I was like, "What?" And then he started saying, I cut my finger, really bad. And so I came in the kitchen and he was holding his finger like this. So I didn't know what was going on. And when I first saw you, I didn't think you had a cloth on it or anything. I thought you were just holding it.
Yeah.
So I was like, "What happened?" Dustin said he cut it on a knife. The knives that I thought were in the sink are like tinier. I mean, they're serrated, but they're little blades. And I was like, obviously that's not good, but I, in my head, was thinking it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like a cut, which aren't fun or whatever. Anyway, Dustin won't let me see his finger for a little while, and I was like, "Well, do we need to go to the hospital?"
Well, because you're so squeamish.
I'm extremely squeamish.
I knew that if you saw it, you would not like that.
Right. Well, so then that's why in my head I was thinking, again, it was one of those smaller knives. So I was like, "Let me see it," kind of like, and Dustin wouldn't let me see it. And I was like, "Do we need to go to the hospital?" And Dustin was like, "I don't know." And so then I noticed that he has a paper towel wrapped around and it's like soaked in blood. And so I was like, okay. So I called Dustin's parents because I figured they probably would be able to tell you better. Like,
Whether I needed to go to the hospital.
like we're gonna go to the hospital basically. So I called them, they said they would come over. And we're walking around the house. Dustin still is like shaking really bad, like breathing really heavy, like has a bad cut, obviously. And so he finally lets me see it. And again, this whole time still I'm thinking it's that small knife. And so when I saw it, I was like, okay. So it's basically cut from like here to here, like a really long cut.
Yep.
Then that's when I noticed the knives that he cut his finger on were knives that we just got that are like humongous, huge blades.
It's like a huge butcher knife.
Yeah, literally probably the biggest knife that we own. And I was like, okay. Say about your experience during this time. What was happening to you?
I was just breathing really heavily because I knew it was probably pretty bad. And I thought if I could get it to clot, because I usually clot pretty quick. I was like, if I can get it to clot, we'll be fine, whatever. But it just wasn't, And so anyway, eventually what ended up happening was we ended up going to urgent care. And we waited around at urgent care for about an hour in the waiting room. So I'm still bleeding this whole time. The whole time. And like I have a wet paper towel that I've wrapped around a few times, and I changed it out before we left the house and got a new paper towel. And so anyway, but by the time they called me back, like again, it's pretty soaked with blood. And so because I've been bleeding out for an hour. And so I go to the back, and Sarah's in the waiting room, and my mom drove us over there. And so so they were together, which I was glad because they can't go back with me because of all the COVID restrictions. So I thought that'll be good. Sarah can go out with my mom and just kind of, be in the car and away from everything. But they ended up staying in the waiting room.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people in there.
Yeah, there's only like one other person in there. And so I went back and everything was fine. The doctor came in. Well, first the nurse came and got me, and she asked me some questions and all that kind of stuff. And then the doctor came in, and so I kind of had my hand up on the tray for him so he could start the stitches. And he confirmed, yes, you do need stitches. But the good news was the cut was not deep enough to sever any tendons.
Mess with your nerves.
Or mess with the nerves or whatever. It just kind of went straight in, and it went at an angle. So so it kept it, because it was angled when it hit, it didn't go down and chop, it kind of sliced. So anyway, the point is, all that to say, he's doing the stitches and everything's fine and dandy.
Okay. And so then we have to reverse for a second, sides. So again, Dustin got called back. We all have our masks on, and they told us when we got there. So I don't know who the woman was. We literally never saw her again. But the lady at the front desk was like, let me grab somebody who I thought probably would be doing Dustin's stitches to see if she thinks he needs stitches. So right when we got there, we knew he was going to have stitches. She took one look at it and was like, yes. So
But still made us wait an hour.
Still made us wait an hour. And it was actively bleeding. Like when he took his paper off, it wasn't like, oh, well, it stopped bleeding, but it's a bad cut. Like it was still bleeding. So we wait in the waiting room. And the whole time, this is why I have to say it, because it's just funny how fast everything happened. We're waiting, and I'm like talking to Teresa and saying that when we were at the house, I feel like I was so afraid you were going to freak out that I was like, it's fine. We're just going to go up there and get some stitches. We're going to go to Chick-fil-A for lunch for the day. Like, we'll see my dad later, maybe. And like, I was just trying to be really calm and like, cool,
Yep.
And I felt really proud of myself because I am very squeamish.
You did good.
So, in the middle of being like, wow, this day is going great so far, just out chatting and whatever, then all of a sudden, Dustin's been texting me the whole time he's back there too. We didn't say that. So he would say like, the doctor's in, the nurse just came back, they just did this, they just did that. So the last text I had from Dustin was like, I think the doctor's about to come in or something like that.
Yeah. I went ahead and typed out the doctor just came in, so that as soon as he did, I could just hit send and you would know.
Right. So he sent that. So then I'm not hearing anything, obviously, because they're working on him. So it was like 10 minutes maybe later. And the door opens and it's like this. She's like this. The nurse says, can you come back here for a second? To me, and I was like, yeah. But still, even then, because you had been texting me the whole time, I didn't think anything happened. I thought she was probably, I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think anything was wrong. But then I came back, and then she asked Dustin's mom to come back too. And so I was like, that's weird. And so
what happened was, I was sitting there, he was doing my stitches, everything was fine, everything was great. And then I felt like I was getting dizzy. And I thought in my mind, like, oh, I should probably tell him that I'm getting dizzy. And before I could even finish formulating the thought, I was like waking up, but like it was like I was waking up in a weird way. First of all, I've never passed out before, so I don't know what it's like when you wake up from passing out. But I had passed out, and I was waking up, and it was like the only thing I compare it to is like, when you put in an old Nintendo game and you like blow on the cartridge and you put it in and you hit the power and it's all like janky and it's like, and you have to take it out and blow on it again and try it again. That's what my whole life was like. And so I was like coming to and everything's all janky. And anyway, they asked me, how do you feel? How do you feel? They had pulled my mask off. They were like trying to get me to come to. And I said, I'm hungry, because I hadn't eaten yet that day because I'd just woken up when all of this happened. And so they went and got an Ensure for me to drink. And I took a couple of sips of that, and he kept working on my finger. It needed 3 stitches, and he had gotten done with 2. And so anyway, he was on that last one, and he finished it, and I said, my hands are going numb. And he said, okay, that's abnormal. And then I said, my feet are going numb. And that's when everyone started freaking out. And so you would like to think that like your doctors and your nurses would remain calm, but that's not exactly what happened. They were freaking out, and that
Freaked you out.
it freaked me out, but I don't even think I was like conscious enough to panic about it. I was just kind of like, oh, nah, this isn't going very well. And so they're flipping out, trying to figure out what to do. And that's when I let them know that not only are my hands and my feet numb, but now it feels like my chest is numb and I can't breathe. So they're trying to figure out what to do. And I told them that my wife and my mom were in the waiting room and they needed to go get them. And so that's when they went and got y'all. So what was it like coming back?
So picking up, we got in the hallway and I'm like, still not thinking anything happened. And the nurse is like, so he did? Real quiet, because you could tell she didn't want to make it like us in the waiting room, like, what? I think that was her stance. She didn't want us to freak out in front of everybody. But she was like, he did pass out, so we did call an ambulance, and they're on their way.
So they called the ambulance because I was going numb.
Right.
That was the weird part.
Which it was so fast and so much information, but also not information, because she didn't explain like, this is what was happening. All she said to us was, he passed out, the ambulance is on the way, and then we all started walking back there. So when we turned the corner, it's like, he wasn't in a room or anything. It was just like a gurney bed, basically, that you could pull the curtain around if you needed to, I guess. And what freaked me out when I saw him was that at that point, Dustin's arms, his legs were completely seized. So like, think of as tight as you can make your arm. That's basically what both of his arms were doing. His legs were so like taut that it was almost like his body was off of the bed, and his eyes were closed, and I could tell that he could not open them. Your dad's on the way to his house, not our house, right?
Right.
So that's what freaked me out. And also what freaked me out was that the only point of Dustin's arm, I guess, that he could move was like up and down, like a Barbie.
I could move my shoulder.
Basically, like he couldn't bend his elbow. So I guess from him moving or whatever happened, when we came in there was like blood on his shirt. There was blood above his head on the, with UPS. There was blood on the pillow. There was blood everywhere, basically. And I was not expecting that to come in to see that. So, yeah, that was scary. And then what scared me absolutely to death was Dustin still not being able to open his eyes. He tried one time, and I could just tell by his upper eyelids how jerky they were. He had to immediately close them, and I was like, yeah, I don't think he can open his eyes. And Dustin said, so Dustin's mom goes around to this side of the bed and is like up near his shoulder. The nurse is running around, the doctor's on this side, so I'm at the end of the bed, and I just like have my hand on his ankle, basically. And which I was trying not to be in that doctor's way, because he was trying to do an IV on Dustin. And Dustin still has his eyes closed, and he was like, did you say Sarah? Or did you say babe? You said Sarah.
I think it's Sarah.
He said Sarah, and I was like, I'm right here. And he was like, I love you. And in my head, I was like, well, I mean, I guess this is it. Because if his first thought is that he needs to tell me that he loves me, I don't know what's about to happen. So that's when I really started to get super nervous.
Well, so what ended up happening, the doctor's trying to start the IV, and the ambulance is on the way. Like I said, like she said, my whole body is seizing, whatever. And so anyway, they come in,
and it wasn't like, when I'm saying seize, it wasn't like a seizure, like where you're moving still. It was like he had seized. He was all the way stiff.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, the doctor's trying to start the IV as the ambulance pulls up and the EMTs come in. And he's trying to start the IV, but it's not really working because I guess because I was so
Yeah,
tight, he
Dustin's
couldn't.
literally like elbow is the other way, basically.
He couldn't. Yeah. So everything was just too tight. And so anyway, the point is, they moved me from the bed to the stretcher to the ambulance to the emergency room. So Sarah and my mom got in the car and went to the hospital and actually beat me there. And so, again, because of all the COVID stuff, they can't go back with me or anything like that. So they wheel me in, they take me to a room, I wait on the doctor, they do an EKG on my heart. They eventually come back and tell me that wasn't completely normal, so they wanted me to follow up with the cardiologist, but that essentially I was fine. And by that time, it had been long enough that the numbness had worn off, I had feeling back, I could move, and everything seemed to be okay. So in the aftermath of all of this, so they discharged me, I walk out the door. Like, they didn't have to roll me out the door, I walked out the door. And then we came home, and I slept. But the point is, in the aftermath of all of that, we tried to figure out what caused the episode.
Me and Dustin's mom were outside the hospital, like, researching, and she was smart enough to think and know and call and say, because the part of this I don't think that you mentioned and I didn't mention, when they were doing his stitches, they obviously numbed his finger. And so Teresa called back and was like, what all did you guys give him? Because this was the other thing, we completely left this out. So when the ambulance got there, and even when me and Teresa first went back, the doctor was like, oh, we gave him a tetanus shot. This is just a case of, like, he's reacting to the tetanus shot. He was just like, sure of it, no question about it, that's what it was. So we weren't like, are you sure? Or like asking any questions. We were just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And so when we called back, when Teresa did, and was asking what all was given to him, they said all they did was the tetanus shot, and we don't know how to say it, but we've been saying bupivacaine.
Bupivacaine, I don't know.
Something like that. It's like B-U-P-A,
yeah,
bupivacaine or something. So those were the only two things he was given. Now, when we were searching everything, I kept trying to say to Teresa, I really feel like that probably was not a reaction to the tetanus shot, because everybody has to have one of those in their lifetime pretty much by some point. And they asked her when we were there, has he had a reaction to that before? And she was like, no, not that I remember. And that, obviously that kind of reaction you would remember. You would and she would. So yeah. We were thinking it was the numbing agent that they gave him. Which
is possible. So I don't know what caused it. They said it was a vasovagal syncope, which it may very well have been, but the question was what caused that. And so I think for us, it was, the doctor said it was probably stress, or probably like maybe if I hyperventilated, or if I just got squeamish at the sight of the blood. Well, but there's a few things about that. I had seen the blood for hours at this point. So just them working on it, I don't think the sight of the blood would have done anything, because there's more blood in my sink than there is.
And you said you weren't like gawking at them doing that or anything. You were just kind of like, all right,
yeah,
you know.
Right. And I don't feel like I was hyperventilating at that point. I think maybe I had when it first happened when I was here at the house for a minute or two, but I don't know. So anyway, all that to say, we don't really still know what caused it. Maybe it was an allergic reaction to something. I don't think it was tetanus. We thought maybe if I was given too large of a dosage of the numbing agent, that could have caused some of that, and it could have. Bottom line, we still don't know, but I've been following up with, are we ready at that point? Mm-hmm. I've been following up with cardiovascular doctors to try to figure out what the issue is. I wore a heart monitor for the past few days so they could just take a look. I turned that in this morning, so they should have the results for me soon. And then I go for a stress test in a week or two. And anyway, all that to say, we still don't know what caused it, but they're just going to check my heart and make sure I didn't have any heart thing that happened. That's weird. Any sort of heart thing that happened. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it was weird.
It was very, very, very scary. And I feel like I've seen a lot medically like that before. I've seen my mom have seizures, fall on the floor, like pretty much everything and been in the hospital with her for a whole lot. So it wasn't necessarily that happening, I think. I think it was the fact that it was you.
Yeah.
Me and Dustin hardly ever have anything medically happen to us. So that was a lot, and just the fact, like, the way that you seized, and like I said, I knew that you couldn't open your eyes was very scary to me. And also just like the lack of communication, but not even like on purpose. It was just like when you got to the hospital, we couldn't go back with you. It wasn't like we didn't have information. It was like we literally were not allowed in there. So just sitting outside and waiting was tough, to wait and just, you know, be in the mind frame of like, I guess they'll call us if something goes wrong, was a whole lot to handle. But Dustin's finger is a lot better. He went and got his stitches back out.
Probably can't even see it.
Yeah, get it a little closer.
Wait, I can't. Anyway.
Yeah, it's still swollen, and you can see where he had his stitches in. But we made it through.
Yeah.
It was very tough and scary.
It won't happen again.
We didn't, yeah, because you're not allowed to touch knives anymore.
Okay.
We didn't laugh about anything until way later in the day, and that's when I told Dustin, when he said that he loved me, I was like, oh crap, this is not going to be good. But that's been exciting. We've been in the hospital several times now because of that. So we went for his visit. We've been back now twice for heart stuff. Wait, actually 3 times, because that one appointment you didn't actually get anything done. So eventually there's going to be a 4th appointment for Dustin.
Yep.
And it's been exciting.
Yep.
In lighter, better news, we got a new car.
Yep.
And we desperately needed it. Dustin, his car is no more since March. And we were kind of hoping we would be able to kind of fix it and just keep going on it. Me and Dustin both have cars that are very old and very, not all the time reliable.
Very don't have a car loan, which is great. But
yeah.
Now we do.
Now we do.
I think we're out of focus.
There we go. But we're really excited for it. The ones that we were looking at, Dustin was looking at, Dustin did pretty much all the research because he's a genius and I'm an idiot. And so I wouldn't be helpful. And we actually ended up getting an amazing deal on a new car.
Yep.
And this is the first time either of us have had
A new car.
A new car. So
Yep.
we still have mine, and Dustin's brother, Dustin went up to the dealership that's like a good ways away from us to get this car, which he did not know when he went to look at it that he would be coming back with a car that day. I didn't either. I didn't go with him. Obviously, if I knew that we were going to come back with a car, I would have. But Dustin's brother was in the area and had to drive my car back home. And I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry that he had to drive that on the highway.
Yeah. It's not that bad. It shakes when you come to a stop, but if you're on the highway, you're not stopping.
I was like, did you have to turn the air off at all? Because sometimes you have to turn the air off or otherwise it feels like it's going to stop. He's like, yeah, just one time. But anyways, so now we have one nice car. So it's nice to have that one new car. This car makes me feel like an old person though, as far as like all the gadgets it comes with. I didn't even know, I think, until after we had it. Like, it was in the driveway and I was like, oh wait, is this a push to start? So crazy, but it's very nice. We love it a whole lot. And it's been really good. Hopefully when Dustin goes back to work and is driving on the highway every day, it does really good for him too.
Yep.
And then that made me think of something else I was going to say. Oh, so my car I'm not going to be using as much because I did leave my job at the salon, which if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be.
No, it's not.
Okay. That was a tougher choice to make, and I really don't know what I want to do fully next. I've been selling some clothes on Poshmark, and that's been really, really fun for me. But I still think I want to get into making more videos or something else. I'm just not sure. I just don't want to stay where I'm comfortable purely because I'm comfortable. I want to be able to, probably when I'm a mom, I won't be like working like that again, you know, for a long time. And so I want to get to a point before I have kids that feels accomplished. That's about all that's happened to us in the past couple of months, right?
Couple.
Couple of months. Sugi's terrified of fireworks still, and I had the saddest experience with her ever in my whole entire life. The night before last.
Yeah.
It's summer in Georgia, so, you know, it goes from like 98 degrees to like, oh, well, now it's hailing. Literally 2 nights ago, it was perfect. It had been a beautiful day. And then it was like really, really loud thunder, but it wasn't even cloudy. It didn't feel like. Mm-hmm. So it was thundering. It was lightning like I've hardly ever seen before. It was very intense.
Like strobe light.
Yeah, like for a long time. It was very scary. But I was sitting by the window and Suki walked up and it was lightning. It wasn't even raining yet, but it was just so long of lightning, I guess, that it caught her attention, whereas that normally doesn't. Mm-hmm. And she was like looking up at the sky and her little eyes got so big I could see the white all around, and I was like, did a baby. Yeah. But I think she's getting more anxious.
Yeah.
She's now anxious about the TV, she's anxious about storms, she's anxious about fireworks, which she has been, but our neighbors set off fireworks almost every single night of the week. And they also shoot guns, which makes her nervous too. So if you guys have any tips on that, we got her some like calming treats. I don't know how well they work.
Yeah, I don't know. I
wouldn't say that they don't, but we're about to run out of space. But
well, yeah, I just wanted to see how close you are, and okay. All right, well, I'll see you when you get here then.
Anyway, that's the life update.
Right.
I hope that you guys enjoyed all of our fun stories. And yeah.
I'm trying to find out when I'm in focus. I'm like not in focus. In focus.
Look, you're still out of focus and you're in the same spot as me.
No, I am. I just have a big potato face.
No, you don't. You have a cute face.
Potato face.
I'm a potato. I thought you said potato.
Potato.